Hello, hello, hello from the newlyweds.
Welcome back, and this is part 2 of the We're Married series. Is that the
We are married.
of the We Are Married series? And thank you so much because it seems like you guys have really been enjoying the series. Part 1 at least, you like the storytelling, so we decided we're just gonna continue the storytelling. It was an 8-month, 5-year engagement, 8-month planning period.
Was it 8 months? Parang 10.
8 to 10 month planning period, and there were so many mini stories that we want to be able to share to you guys because we found it amusing, so hopefully you find it amusing as well.
Yeah, so welcome back to hashtag behind relationship goals.
Oh, and one thing for those watching this on YouTube, as you can see in between my legs, you have Soba. Not the noodles, Soba the poodle.
She's so cute.
She's super cute. She's nibbling on my feet and her own feet. So hopefully she stops and just rests as she listens to our stories. Anyway, Bones, what do we have for this episode?
For this episode, it is the We Are Married series. And for this episode, we're going to talk about our planning process because to put up a wedding, you need to plan something.
Yeah, so before we even get to that, just a super short summary for those joining us just on the second episode. Last time we decided to finally get married, meaning finally plan the actual wedding. And the reason for that was because we had a teleserye, The Stepdaughters,
Yes.
which was very successful. And it just felt like there were so many factors coming together at the same time, coincidentally, letting us know that, hey, you're on break together, you're coming off a good show, you have good vibes, you've saved up because we were coming from a show.
Yes.
I think it might be the best time to plan that wedding.
Although at that time, we knew we wanted to get married, but we were still uncertain about the date. We didn't know when it was going to be, but we were just ready for it.
Yeah, so the date, there was no date.
Walang date.
The destination, there was no
Walang
destination.
destination.
So I think even before the date, I think the destination was the first thing we decided on.
Yes, because we have been talking about where it would be. We were contemplating if it should be abroad, should it be in Bali, should we go to the US or even Japan?
And to be honest with you, for the longest time, especially during our engagement, we were under the notion that we were going to have a destination wedding outside of the country. So yeah, you said Japan.
Yeah, US, Bali was also
We were-
Thailand.
We were already looking for places and churches where we could do this wedding.
We were looking for places as early as 2014 na.
But here's the thing, when we finally got serious and said, okay, we're really going to do this, we realized one thing. We realized, why are we going away from the Philippines? It's so difficult
Yeah.
planning a destination wedding.
Yeah, and the thing is, Mikael and I do not like planning. Like, that's just our personalities. We
Yeah,
don't
we're
like
just-
planning for parties. We don't like planning get-togethers. Just let us know where it's going to be, and we will be there.
Just the support that we don't plan. We don't even plan our trips.
Last minute lagi.
Like we could decide right now to go somewhere, and that is the extent of our planning prowess.
Google Maps lang ang peg. Ganun kami.
So we don't plan any of our trips. We don't want to plan our wedding, especially if it's abroad. And here's another thing. A more sensible and practical reason why we decided to have it here in the Philippines is because we have built a network of friends, connections, people whom we know in the industry, connected to the wedding industry. And they could all help us ease the load of planning. And if we went to a destination,
It would have been harder.
diba, translator pa lang hirap ka na eh.
Oo, hirap
Patay na
ng
tayo
ganon.
dun eh.
Tsaka iniisip din natin, syempre, we wouldn't want our friends to spend more. Like, yes, we would have taken care of our own families. Pero syempre, KKB na yun pagdating sa mga kaibigan.
Diba? And so the destination, you would have to consider airfare, flight,
Hotel.
There are just so many factors that came together, and we were like, this is hard.
Yeah.
Let's just have it in the Philippines. Diba? We could say, uy, tulungan mo naman kami. You know, call in a
Yeah.
couple of favors. Why not? It's a wedding. You're gonna have it once in your life. Hopefully.
So eventually, one day, Mikael's mom, Tita Monique, or should I say mom, she insists that I call her mom. She was like, oh yeah, I just came from this wedding in Subic. And it was so beautiful.
They
And
showed us photos.
They showed us photos. And as soon as she showed us the photos, Mikael and I, we literally looked at each other after looking at these photos. And we were like,
We had a couple light bulb moments.
yes, we were like, it's Subic. It's definitely Subic.
And I even remember the photo. It was like a normal photo from a phone. And it was just a wide shot of all the guests standing. The sun was slowly going down. It wasn't an amazing photo, but just seeing it inspired us and inspired that couple light bulb moment. Like, ding. And we were like, let's just have it in Subic.
And you know what's funny is that when I was planning, like I have an Evernote that's dedicated to planning, quote unquote. And I had put our chapel, San Roque Chapel, there initially before your mom even showed us these things. 2015 pa lang nakalagay na yun San Roque Chapel. Because in the back of my head, I knew that I wanted to get married there. But we also thought of getting married abroad at that time. So I was like, if it happens, it happens.
Okay, so before moving forward, the first thing we wanted to decide was where. Okay, fine. Philippines. Ang laki ng Pilipinas. 7,000 plus islands. So we had to decide where. Subic was top of mind because of that couple light bulb moment. But we did consider other things. We wanted to do our due diligence. So one place that we did consider was definitely Batanes.
Yes,
Remember?
Batanes was
There was
one.
a super cute, I forget the name of the chapel. It was just such a cute chapel. My family had never gone to Batanes. So I was thinking, why don't we do it in Batanes and then let's make an adventure out of it?
We were thinking of doing the intimate wedding, yung 10 people lang, a family lang,
Yes.
in Batanes. Pero last minute kasi na tayo nag-decide nun. We decided to have the intimate wedding December na. So
That's right,
parang,
that's right.
because of us being non-planners, we were just like, meh, let's just do it somewhere nearby.
Somewhere easy.
Somewhere
But anyway,
easy.
eventually the point is we picked Subic. We had no idea where in Subic. We had the initial places. I think we can say Kamana. Kamana, was it right? Kamaya.
Kamana?
No, yeah.
Kamaya.
Kamana Resort. That was the first place because that's where the photo where we were inspired, that's where it was taken.
Yes.
So the next thing that we had to do was
Do it
get somebody to help us.
Yeah, get somebody to help us.
So we got a coordinator. These coordinators, they know who's who. They know what to do. They know the timelines and all the things you probably would not think of that you might need at a wedding. They'll help you sort through that. So we said, okay, let's just help each other out and get a coordinator. So that's what we did. And first order of business was an ocular to Subic to go to the different places that could allow us to host a wedding.
Yeah, and before we actually did that ocular, we needed to make sure that we got a stylist. Para pagdating dun, the stylist could actually help us decide if it was doable to set up an event in that area the way that we wanted it to be.
Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a stylist, to be honest, for weddings.
Akala mo, table lang. Ganun.
Well, akala ko parang part of the package na. I just didn't know that it was like a super separate team. So we had the coordinator and we had our stylist.
So we brought the coordinator and the stylist to Subic, and we went to the parang hotel, Kamana.
We went to Kamana. We went to other hotels. I forget the name. I forget the name. So we went to 3. And we were quite set on Kamana. So there was an area in that place. It wasn't even the wedding area, the usual reception area.
It was just like a beach
small
area.
beach in the resort. So we're like, okay, let's convert this and just make it like a beach picnic style. So we already knew we wanted very
chill,
not too extravagant.
Yeah,
not too, it's just very, very easygoing. So we were like, okay, let's do this. On our way out of Subic, however, someone forced us.
It was me.
Okay, Megan.
So I was thinking, why don't we just try to look at El Caballo? Kasi a really close family friend had their wedding there, sina Tita Jen.
Yes.
And I was like, it's not really on our list, but we're here, so why don't we just take a look?
But here's the thing, inaayos yung roads. I was tired. It was getting really hot. So I was like, I was kind of 50-50. Pero sige na, binigay ko na kay Megan. Pumunta kaming El Caballo. And as soon as we stepped out of the car, we walked into the field, just a couple of steps, and I saw it.
we had another light bulb couple moment.
Yeah, and this time, no, it was a triple light
Oh,
bulb
because-
moment because the stylist whom we were with also had the same light bulb. We saw these, I'm not sure if I'm correct, parang acacia trees, but huge trees with huge trunks, and then their leaves and branches just connecting to one another.
Yeah, and sakto, when we got there, the horses were all out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could see the stables. The light was so nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was
just-
bare. It was really like a field. It was just a field. No, it wasn't
Yeah.
like a field. It was just a field
Yeah.
with like 4 or 5 nice, humongous trees around. But I was like, this is fun. This looks like it has potential.
And even si Gideon, like you could see his eyes just like there were just hearts in his eyes when he saw the venue. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to do this and this and this," and we're just like, game.
Yeah. And here was the biggest bonus, at least on my part. Of all the places we went to, El Caballo was the cheapest one.
Oh yeah, we got to save so much money, compared to like what we hear from friends about, locations.
Yeah. Hotels, guys, I'm sorry. I mean, I know, no offense to the hotels, but hotels are expensive to have weddings in.
No, because they usually like you get your food from the hotel na, so kasama na rin.
Kasama na rin. Okay.
But we got
alright.
to save a lot, and of course, we're giving back to El Caballo, so we got to give the money to take care of the horses and the
And the
stables.
ranch.
Also,
It was a nice place. It was a really nice
Yeah.
place. So anyway, finally we got our place.
we got our place, and it was now time to plan everything. And one of the most asked questions that I've gotten so far was, how did you manage to even keep your guest list that small?
Oh yeah, our guest list.
Because just a little background, Mikael has a huge family. And when I say huge, it's like he has 50 cousins on one side and 30 cousins on the other.
Wala pang titos and titas
Wala
doon.
pang titos and titas. And,
Wala pa yung mga babies, nieces and nephews.
and he's close to a lot of them.
Yeah, most of them.
Most of them. I, on the other hand, have a very, very small family. And I'm not super close to all my cousins. So there was ang dami, like, who do you pick? Who goes to the wedding? So early on, Mick and I decided na we wanted to keep it intimate. And we wanted to have a small wedding. We wanted it different from all the other events that we would go to. Diba?
Yeah. Well, the guest list was one of the first things we did when we got engaged. But of
We
course,
worked on it throughout the years,
we
actually.
we finalized it when we said we were going to plan the wedding, and we ended up with a number close to 125, 130.
By the 2 days before the wedding, the final count was 140 invited guests, and we had 135 confirmed guests.
Yeah, but here's the thing, okay? For me, the number never really mattered. I told Bones as we made our initial lists, which obviously was very big. I told her, you know what? When we invite people, we need to make sure that they're people who we've talked to, whom we've had moments, and whom we've shared conversation with
Together.
and of course individually. I mean, there are some people you haven't met in my life.
Yeah.
So they had to mean something to you. They can't be just like a tito or a tita who you never ever talk to. They can't be a cousin who you never talk to, even though they're related to you by blood. If there's no real, tangible relationship there and connection, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't need to invite the whole world to this wedding. Just people whom you know in your deepest, darkest moments, they're gonna be there. Those are the kinds of people I wanted in my wedding. In our wedding, and I think for the most part we hit the nail on the head.
We did. And another thing that I kept in mind when writing down my list was that I had to think of, would I be very sad if I didn't invite them or if they didn't witness this moment with me? Because the people that I invited are people that have witnessed ups and downs in my life also, and your life as well.
Same.
So they have a connection to the both of us, not just to us as individuals.
Yeah. And I think I have to make this distinction. There's a big reason between feeling sad if they're not there and feeling guilty. And I think that was a very difficult emotion to be able to distinguish.
Yeah,
right?
because when we sent out invites, we did get some messages na parang, why is so and so not invited, or can you invite so and so? But we had to just be consistent, I think.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I felt guilty. There was definitely guilt. I will be honest about that. My mom texted me, a couple of other friends texted me, like, "We invited ba to?" I was like, "No." And then I would talk to Megan. I'm like, "Yo, I feel kind of bad. I feel kind of guilty. I mean, kaya naman natin i-invite pa."
Mm-mm.
But the thing is, as difficult as it was, we always went back to what our initial decision
Yeah.
was, which was invite people whom you love and have a real
Relationship
connection
with.
with. There are other people whom you love na syempre may pagka-acquaintance lang naman
Yeah.
or baka relationship by blood lang. So this guest list meant a lot to us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they're the only ones important in our lives.
Oh yeah, there are
It's
so
just
many
that-
people in our lives that were also not invited, but they're super important. It's just that maybe I have a deep relationship with them, but Mikael doesn't even know who they are, and vice versa. So there will be other times for us to bond with them and for Mikael to get to know them.
That's actually perfect. Okay, so one more thing before we move on from the guest list. I was like, our wedding is not the be-all, end-all of a relationship.
Yeah.
It's really just like a marker, just a dot in the whole timeline.
It's just one moment, guys.
Just one small blip in time, and it's not supposed to be the pillar of a friendship or a relationship.
Exactly.
Diba? So we invited those, regardless if they came or not, regardless if it was a wedding or not. We knew they were gonna be part of our lives.
And honestly, if somebody's going to get upset about not being invited, then I think it says more about them than it does about us.
Okay, but there. So that's how we got to our guest list. It was a very thought out process. I would have to admit. Of all the things, that was the most thought out process for us.
Because we did it throughout the 5 years that we were engaged.
Yeah.
All right. So
What came up next?
aside from the guests, we did plan for 10 months. And 10 months for me is a while because I'm used to being on the go. I'm used to doing things like last minute, like I was in school and like we are with our trips.
And here's the thing. When you're planning for a wedding, there are so many rituals and traditions na talaga. Especially now since the wedding industry is such a big deal.
Yeah.
I think a good example of that was when it came to the food. Apparently, when you try out your caterers or when you're choosing your caterers, they have a food tasting pa pala. And this food tasting, if you think about it, is really, really time consuming.
It is. Ours took like 3 hours.
Diba? It's like they serve almost everything that they have on their menu so that you have a good idea of what kind of food they serve.
Although I did enjoy the food tasting because I love food and it was kind of exciting just getting to try so many things.
We only tried 2 caterers.
And we chose the second one.
Yeah, but wait, Bones, imagine if other couples, I've heard of those who tried 5 or 6. I mean, that's like 3 hours. 3 hours each time. And then if they're doing it 2 in a day, 3 hours travel time.
Pero, Fofo, another thing that we didn't experience, kasi we went straight to the caterer. I know a lot of couples that go to wedding fairs and the caterers are all there and you can try it like a buffet. Like they'll have mini stuff.
But
that
not
you can
everybody
try.
does that. Some people still go through all that food tastings and it's crazy. It is so time consuming. I'm so happy we only went to 2. Eventually, we settled with Bizu. And we were very happy with them.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll save that for the wedding itself.
We'll
but
save
we're
that
just
for the
talking
wedding
about
itself.
the planning. So we got Bizu. The tasting was pretty fun, I will have to say. I enjoyed that tasting.
That was fun.
That was so much fun. And, well, just to give you like a little sideline, I think in the 10 months that we were planning, we were probably in like the 4th month in of planning. And I said to Mikael, ayoko na magplano, mag-elope na lang tayo, cancel na natin to. You remember that?
Why did we do that? What was the trigger point? I forget.
I hated going back and forth with emails and just like getting approval on things. Like maybe I like something, but you didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So
And it's just, I hate having to decide on these things.
I remember. So the coordinator, we coursed everything through them, and they would connect us to the different suppliers, like the food, photography, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there was still so much back and forth. In terms of email, it was like, okay, is this okay? No, okay, we'll search. Is this okay? Is this okay?
Can we
And-
adjust this with the contract, blah, 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 and adjust? Chorba.
And I guess it was just that red tape that Megan and even that Bones and even myself felt was like, oh, never mind. You know what? Let's just do it. Just you and me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I told Mikael.
This is going to be so easy. Why are we putting ourselves through this?
Yeah, and I was like, I was on the verge of crying because I was stressing myself out, honestly, over something that I didn't need to stress out on. And when I told you that, you know what you actually told me? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Mikael was like, he sat me down. He was like, Bones, hold on. And you held my face and you were like, look at me. And I looked at you and I kind of didn't want to look at you because I was like being all like pissy and like throwing a tantrum. And he was like, look at me. You know the real reason why we're doing this wedding, right? Because we want to celebrate with family. And you don't need to stress yourself out over this. All you have to do is decide. And that's it. You don't need to stress yourself out over little details. Because what's important is that we're going to be together, we're going to be married, and we're going to be with the people we love.
Which brings me, amazing, give me a high five, okay? Because that brings me to probably my most important realization and maybe my biggest piece of advice to everyone planning a wedding, especially concerning the planning part. And that is, when we went through our wedding plans, I realized what I wanted out of the wedding. And you said it. It was a celebration.
Yeah.
With family. Just being together. Okay? But I actually had a peg. Almost all throughout my life, I would have Sunday lunches with my mom's side and my dad's side, alternatingly.
Yeah. And I got to experience that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Throughout
Many
the
times.
years that we were
And
together.
almost every time, sometimes we're just chill, we're tired. But almost every time, I was just happy to be around people who loved me and people whom I loved. That's why regardless of whatever you choose, whatever kind of food, whatever kind of styling, whatever kind of program you have, if you have your loved ones around you and you just want to be together, you just want to hang out, things will work out.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is because when you're planning, as I would talk to my friends who had planned before, all of a sudden there's a creeping pressure to make sure that it's a good wedding in the sense that everybody has fun. Everybody
drinks
has
a
to be
lot.
satisfied.
Yeah.
They have this, all of a sudden, they have this stereotype dream wedding in their heads where I was like, no, why does it have to be like that?
Why does it have to be like what everybody thinks it's supposed to be?
Why can't you just organically just have the wedding and whatever happens, happens? What if we had that wedding, we just had dinner, and everybody had an amazing time telling stories, catching up with one another, and after that, tapos na.
Honestly, that was our
That
color.
would-
Fofo, that was our color wedding.
But it was just my point that, don't put that pressure on
Yeah.
yourself. That was something we had to learn, and we realized in the middle of the process. Because I think that's also why Bones started to feel pressure. She was like, oh, I want them to feel this. I want them to feel that. I was like, you can't dictate how people feel.
Yeah.
They love you. They will be there, and they will show that love in whatever way that manifests. So there you go. You heard my biggest realization, and I think that also moves me into another topic about planning, which is very important and highly sensitive, which is money. The money involved in a wedding is a lot.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
The wedding industry here in the Philippines is obviously booming.
Good for the
Standards,
suppliers.
Good for the suppliers, but standards, traditions, gimmicks. I mean, like I said, I respect these things. These are things people want.
Yeah.
But then again, with more and more things that people want, the costs also just keep on rising. exponentially. And I have to say, I was actually quite surprised with some of the costs involved.
Yeah, so when we were planning, we had already decided to take out a bunch of things. Like we didn't follow traditions. And one thing that I didn't want was I didn't want an entourage early on.
Oh, yeah.
Like at first I thought I wanted one and realized that I don't want to get stressed out about what dresses they want to wear. That's just me.
Oh, yeah, because do you have to pay for the clothes of the entourage?
It depends. Like there are some,
but usually, yeah.
There are some brides that will pay for the dresses because they do have the budget. There are some na hati kayo.
Okay.
So the bride and the whatever. And then there are other cases where the bride will ask you to pay for your own dress. So it depends.
Okay, so why did we forgo the entourage aside from that? Like, some people give meaning to that.
Some people will put like their best friends or whatever. But since we had an intimate wedding, I thought that, most of our friends we're pretty close to, and these close friends will be at the wedding already. So I think that we should just have our brothers and sisters be part of that quote unquote entourage because they will be the ones doing the cord, doing the the veil.
And another thing,
etc.
we actually had fun with it because there was no entourage. And because most of our guests, I would say like 95% of them were adults.
98 fofo.
98%. There were like 4 kids there, including my little brother already. So 3 other kids. We had fun with them. So in the wedding procession, the ring bearer, the flower girls, they were all adults. The ring bearer was my oldest brother.
And the flower girls were Victor and Lauren.
Yeah. And then everybody was like doing their own thing. And it was super cute and super funny. Sobrang natawa yung mga tao when they came in and they realized that, oh my God, usually these are kids.
Yeah.
These are grown people.
Also,
grown men.
I think we didn't discuss that a part of our guest list, we decided no kids.
Yes,
we wanted to have an all-adult wedding because we wanted all of our friends and our family to enjoy the party.
More specifically, my titos and titas. Now, my titos and titas, they're amazing parents. They're actually too amazing that sometimes they forget to have fun. And even though they do have fun when their kids are around, syempre, iba pa rin yung feeling pag wala yung mga anak. Diba? And then there's a party, there's nice music, good people, and good vibes. And that's also what I wanted to give them. And I think for the most part, we were able to achieve that. A lot of the titos and titas went up to us and said they had fun.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's all I wanted. Just a happy night. Didn't have to be the best night in the world.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be the best party in the world. Just a happy moment in everyone's lives. Yun lang. No?
Yeah. I think a lot of our guests had fun. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the planning. We had picked our suppliers, and as you could see on our Instagram, we also decided to get a photo and video
team.
supplier.
Photo and video team.
So at first I was like, why don't we just give them all cameras, disposable cameras? These were one of the ideas that came about when we were trying to decide, will we get a photographer and video guy? And we were just thinking, what happened there? What happened in the decision making?
We did ask our planners for recommendations, and we gave out a bunch of people that we saw online. And one of the main criteria for us choosing this is how good these teams were at logistics, at making sure that, they weren't in your face all the time.
Yes.
Making sure that, everybody would have fun, capture the moment. And that's why we came down to our photo team, Metro Photo and Bob Nicolas for the video.
So basically, we wanted a team na marunong makisama. Not the, uy, stand there, we'll take a picture of you. Stand there, we'll take a picture of you. So,
or like, yung sasabihin na, look at each other lovingly. Oh my God.
Someone who'll contribute to the vibe lang.
Yeah.
Na chill lang tayo. Just
enjoy lang.
Just let whatever unfold. Let whatever stories unfold. And actually, there was one time that I spoke to the lead photographer.
Si Ollie.
So in one of the shoots, he gave some of the photos. This was actually for Jan 10, the Calaruega, the first wedding. And he said, uy guys, sorry, bawi ako. And then I looked at the photos. The next time that I saw him, which was on Jan 25 or Jan 24, I went up to him. Hey, Ollie, come here. I want to talk to you. And I was like, dude, thank you. Because for him, I think it was also a bit jarring for him. Because the photos that came out were so raw.
Yeah.
And sa totoo lang, some of the photos, I'll be honest, they look like parang kinuha lang. Kinuha lang ng katabi, kinuha lang na nandun. It wasn't anything glossy, definitely not magazine.
Nothing posy.
Like, no editor-in-chief would ever approve those photos for a magazine. But, in my case, I loved it.
We love them so much.
They caught my brothers yawning in mid-yawn with their mouths open.
We had
they
some
caught
like
some of
puffy
them
eyes.
blinking. They caught me and Bones
Ugly
crying, ugly crying.
Ugly
Parang nakaganon yung,
crying.
I mean, parang one eye was closed, another eye was open, and that was amazing because I think it was just so in the moment.
It was so real.
And it reminded me of all the emotions that we were feeling when we were there. So I told him, don't apologize. Whatever you did there, that's exactly what I want every time.
Yeah. It was so beautiful.
So,
I really love those photos.
Yeah. So there. Good job to that team. They were amazing.
And also for the video. So I know people have been looking for a same day edit, and even some friends were asking me, bakit wala kayong pinakita na video? And that's because the first thing that we told Bob was that we didn't want a same day edit. And we didn't want speeches at our weddings. So we asked him to actually shoot family and friends beforehand for like a little interview about us as a couple.
Yeah. But I mean, talking about the video, we still haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the videos. We haven't seen the photos of the wedding anyway.
Yeah, because we told them to take their time with it. We didn't want anything to be rushed. We want them to, like really edit it the way that they want to.
Yeah. So there, when we basically back to the planning again, we keep on segueing into these little stories. Eventually, when we got to November, December, I think to slowly wrap up this podcast, we should talk about what does it actually take to get married legally and under the church.
Oh gosh, I was never briefed
Guys,
about this.
Hindi kami na-inform. Ang hirap pala magpakasal.
Oo
The
nga.
paperwork,
Oh
the
my gosh.
requirements, the interviews, the seminars. I mean, I knew meron. I just didn't know dalawang bundok siya.
Oh my gosh. Let me just tell you, if you are newly engaged or if you're planning a wedding and haven't worked on the paperwork, work on it ASAP because sometimes it takes forever.
Okay, and let's get into the specifics. So, like, what happened? Some parishes would ask for a baptismal certificate na original. And I didn't have one. And I didn't even remember where I was baptized. And
So
then
we had
meron
to
yung,
like do research pa.
meron rin yung confirmation certificate. And I was like, I don't think I ever got my confirmation certificate. So, I mean, just these little things na, yes, it sounds so simple. But when you think back, you're like, I have no idea where to start. And it's a horrible feeling, especially ayaw mo na nga magplan, gusto mo low effort lang yung decisions mo, and to have that feeling that I have no idea where to start, it's just like, oh my God, this sucks.
And since I was the one going back and forth with the coordinator in emails, I specifically asked Mikael to take care of the marriage license, to take care of everything with the church, so that he could work on that part and I could work on everything else that we needed to like focus on.
Yeah, and then on top of that, so requirements for the church, for the wedding, that aside, you also have interviews. So you have
the
the
church.
pre-Cana.
Yeah.
The pre-Cana interviews, the seminars that you have to attend, and you really have to make time. I mean, some do it in one day, I've heard. We did
talaga.
ours over several days.
Yeah.
So
And then we even went to Calarwega just for like to meet
another interview.
another interview.
So it's a lot of time. There is a lot of time. And I can only imagine those who are busy and have corporate jobs when they have to plan for a wedding. That can get really stressful.
Oh,
Buti na lang
yeah.
flexi time kami. And at the time, we were on break. But for others, I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard.
Because they have to take time off,
But yeah, just a heads up for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody has to go through it anyway. I'm just saying, prepare yourself.
Yeah, don't always think about just the glossy part, but there's a lot of paperwork that we didn't realize was involved. So make sure you do the paperwork as soon as you can.
Yeah. What else do we have for planning?
The last month of preparation.
Which was?
This January, how was it for us? Like, how were we feeling? Because we were so chill for like the last 9 months. And when it came down to the last month, how were we feeling?
I don't know. How are you feeling, Bones?
I was okay in the beginning of January. And I think in mid-Jan, that's when I got a little bit stressed because I didn't realize how much backlog there was, and then we still needed to book a couple more suppliers, so I kind of got stressed. I don't think I cried though.
No, I don't think you did.
I don't think I cried, but I was getting a little stressed, and I was just trying not to think about it too much para hindi ko ma-feel yung stress because I didn't want it to get to me. Diba? Like I always had like the Kobe mentality. I always
Yeah, okay, explain that. I like it when you tell this story.
because we watched an interview, was it?
Yeah, with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, we watched an interview of his, and he said, nah, don't let these things get to you. You can't let yourself get affected by them. And I always kept that in mind after I watched that interview. I wouldn't let things that affected me.
Don't let wedding things?
No. Don't let like stressful things affect you.
There. You didn't specify.
Don't let it get to you in a way that would affect you negatively.
Yeah. Use it. Use it as motivation.
Use it as motivation.
Use it to push you harder. Something I just want to share as we wrap up this podcast. The one thing that I absolutely hated. So I already told Bones and I told the coordinator that I am low effort here, okay? I just want to make quick decisions. Just present to me what needs to be decided on, and I will automatically just decide.
Yeah.
So, photographer, no photographer, I'll decide. Steak or chicken, I'll just decide, like right then and there. Because for me, like I said, these details didn't super matter to me. I just wanted everybody together in one place. So everything else that came together, I was like, no, let's be chill about it. However, one thing that I could not escape, that inescapable inviting of people, I do not like messaging. Okay, I do not like Viber groups, WhatsApp groups. Unfortunately, it's part of work, it's part of life, it's part of family.
Mm-hmm.
You're in 1,000,001 of these groups. Okay, and I had to make extra groups, which I don't do.
Yeah, because we didn't invite everyone.
And invite every single one of them. And even though it was copy-paste, I was like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. But of course, I was doing it. And to be honest with you, I was being a brat about it.
He was being so bratty about it.
It really just took me around 30 minutes. But the fact that you were making me do something that I knew I didn't want to do, it hurt me.
Did it
No, but it
really?
was okay. But it was okay. I know I needed to do it. But at that time, I wasn't prepared to do it. But I told myself, alam mo, tatapusin ko na lang to. Ngayon na. So, there.
I am so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
It was such a small thing, such a minor detail,
Yeah.
but that's what I was like. That's when I was at my most vulnerable during.
Oh my
planning.
gosh. Well, sorry. Sorry. Well, Mikael really doesn't like texting. We barely text, so
Yeah.
lol.
So there. Is there anything else?
I think let's just give our conclusion, I guess, about like the wedding
wrap
planning.
things up. Like
Wrap
what?
things
Like
up.
overall, with everything that we've said, I've actually said some pretty big things already. I think I said some of my highlights already a while ago. What do you have to say about planning now that you've been through it and accomplished it?
I think be a chillZILLA. Chill bride. Chill bride.
Yeah.
Be a brideCHILLA. There you go.
And be a groom chiller.
Be a brideCHILLA. There's no reason for you to like really get angry about things. But try to look at it from a different perspective. Try to understand what's going on before you get angry. There's no, diba? Like, I think that's the best way to go about things. Definitely talk to your groom or your soon-to-be husband about preparations rather than fighting with each other.
Yeah. Okay. So I have something cool.
Okay.
This is just me sharing stories and sharing a piece of advice. You don't necessarily have to follow this to a T, but this is my own personal learning. You should not, okay, according to my experience, you should not put all your eggs in one basket. So what I mean by that is that don't put so much pressure on just one element of the wedding,
Yeah.
right? Don't put it on the dress. Don't put it on just the walk. Don't put it on the drinks. Don't put it on the food. Because once you do that, you're not going to be able to make a rational decision. It's going to be such a stressful decision. You're like, no, the food has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Don't do that. Okay? Nothing will ever be perfect. Okay? The most perfect thing about your wedding is the relationship that you have
Yes.
with all the people there. Everything else is just an accessory. Sa totoo lang, kung wari, paano kung yung pagkain papunta doon tumaob lahat ng plato sa loob ng truck tas walang pagkain. Okay? We'll laugh about it. We'll go hungry. We'll probably order fast food. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be so happy because it's the people and relationships there that really meant a lot to me.
Aww.
Everything else, I mean,
Yeah.
wala yun. Extra. Accessory lang yun.
Yeah.
So there you go. Good luck to all the future wedding planners out there.
And good luck to all the future brides and grooms.
The brideCHILLAs and the groomCHILLers.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy your planning and enjoy it as much as possible because no matter how long or short you have to plan a wedding, syempre it's a once in a lifetime thing. So you might as well enjoy it.
Sometimes it's a once in a lifetime thing. Sometimes it's not.
Twice like ours.
But anyway, yeah, and please, we're gonna come out with one more part in this We Are Married series, which is we're gonna talk about the actual wedding, what went down, the feelings that we went through, the crazy stories.
Oh gosh, a lot of stories to tell.
Crazy stories during the wedding. So if you guys have any questions, even about past episodes or this episode, please, shoot us a tweet on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, doesn't matter where. Hopefully we see it. And if we like the question, we'll answer it for you guys. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lengthier podcast than usual.
And Soba is like super
And Soba's
tired.
actually finally awake. So she's
I think she wants
energized.
to go to bed though.
So there you go. Bye,
All
guys.
right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.